Yes, sir.
Okay, so obviously I know you play Falco. Um,
Yep, yep.
but I guess we could start with kind of what you want from lessons and then go into like today what specifically we're gonna end up talking about and stuff.
Okay. Well, generally, what I want from lessons is kind of like I just a sense of direction
Mm.
of like what I need to be practicing first and foremost. Because for a while, I had the person who I practiced with this Marth main, and he kind of helped me get to a certain point, but he
Mm.
doesn't really play anymore. And now it's kind of like, okay, I know what I'm good at, but I don't know where to go with that or how to like either push what I'm good at or take a step back and be like, okay, maybe I should focus on something different. And
Hmm.
what is that different thing I should be focusing on?
Okay, that sounds good. Makes a lot of sense. We could definitely do that. I think
Yeah,
lessons are a great opportunity to get a second opinion on like how the game is going, and it really like ends up being eye opening when you have someone be like, wait, what? I didn't even remotely think of that.
yeah, yeah. And I talked to you about it. I want to get invited to Bimmy next year.
Yeah.
And I just want to get PR to my region, and then I'd reevaluate if once those things happen.
Okay. Cool. That sounds like, or those sound like solid goals.
Yeah.
Today I think. Let's see, what do you want to talk about?
I have a set we could watch.
Okay.
I can send you the link. I hope it timestamps. Let's see. Okay, cool. It's me versus KJH at Tipped Off.
Mm.
Let me see. How do I share? Oh, there we go. Copy, and I'll just DM it to you.
Sounds good.
There you go.
Okay, nice, perfect. Okay. Do you have any thoughts on this set or the
So
matchup?
the Falco Ditto. My thoughts are like I really enjoy the laser war
Hmm.
and the projectile kind of battle that like people will end up getting into. The only thing is I struggle with is like dealing with shield pressure strings
Yeah.
and holding shield way too long against other Falcons,
Hmm.
where it's like I'm just letting them dance on my shield, and I don't know when there's gaps or when I can press really intuitively yet.
Yeah.
Um, but then there's like times where there's just things like the KJH knows that I just don't, and I just want to like at least if you could show me and pinpoint where it's like, okay, this is what you did was wrong here because of this, this, and this.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay, that sounds good. I think the shield pressure part of the Ditto is definitely really, really hard. I think once Falco, gets himself in shield, it's so hard for you to like actually escape because it's not like you have a shine big enough to do anything. Um, when you're getting pressured, you're obviously at frame disadvantage or whatever, so you like don't have the time to be like, I'm going to aerial or something. And once Falco ends up spaced on your shield, it's just like, oh my god, what do I do? But
Yeah,
I think, there's a few like defensive techniques or whatever that you could use if you want to be aggressive, or like rolling and full hopping are always great options because,
mm-hmm.
under the basis that Falco wants to end up hitting your shield while spaced, one of the things that comes with that is if you're spaced, then you have room to jump, right?
Yeah,
And that's like also um one of the like core things. It's like, okay, if you're pressuring my shield, am I going to be jumping here, or will I like try and do something
mm,
more proactive, like wave dashing out of shield and then directly punishing you? And so that's something they have to worry about because if you get to jump out, then they lose like a lot of positional advantage and then have to like deal with you rather than you dealing with them. And then
mm,
if they like decide that they think you're still going to be on the ground and you wave dash out, you do like wave dash back F smash, they're getting slammed with an F smash, or they end up whiffing a move right in front of you and you get to pressure them now, right? And that's like the
yeah.
dichotomy.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
sick. Okay,
Okay, cool. Let me start streaming and then you could get into it. Here we go.
good.
Okay, and since this is the first time I've formally watched lesson and stuff, I'm gonna watch some portion of the first game without really talking, just so I understand like your skill level and be able to pay attention to like what is happening or what generally tends to happen, so I have like a greater idea of guiding you.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And if when watching, you see anything that you have thoughts on or anything like that, you're welcome to share them. I'm gonna prompt you afterwards too, so don't feel like you need thoughts, but if you end up having them, definitely share.
Sounds good.
Okay, I think I've seen enough. All right. Do you have any thoughts before we go on?
Uh, I like Dash Attack too much.
Yeah,
That was my first thing when I rewatched it.
I definitely
Was
agree with that. Anything else?
um, I was rolling a lot and I was lasering a lot,
Hmm.
but and then there was times where I just like missed like really just like okay, like I think on the left side of Stadium Two, I had a chance to just grab ledge and I tried to like short hop grab it instead of wave dash back
Yeah.
fastball, and I just missed like a whole kill,
Yeah.
and he got hit me, got back up and shined me, and I almost died, or I think I died,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that was like one thing I was like in my head during the set I was like, oh please no.
Yeah, I think that kind of thing happened a lot. Well, it wasn't like, you drop kills, but there's a lot of spots where I think you had like an opportunity and then you realized it, but something about it went wrong and then you ended up like missing it. And I think in the Ditto, or I mean in Melee in general, that like obviously is something super important. And we'll talk about the specific situations as we go through it, but I definitely think the general idea of like when I think being ready for like the hits you get ends up being a really really important skill because it's like you know a melee philosophical thing is like if you're gonna like make a decision you're probably doing it because you think it's gonna hit right and so you have no reason not to be as ready as possible
Mm,
once
okay.
like it goes well. Um, Something else I saw that I think is pretty important is I think you were pretty on about like lasering when you had the opportunity and stuff, but I kind of feel like in the Ditto, while it is like a laser war of sorts, I think that the threat of laser ends up being a lot more prevalent than the laser itself. And so it's like once you get like a laser out, or maybe two laser out, and they're like shielding, or maybe they got hit by it or whatever. I'm much more prone to like try and do something um, a bit more proactive, just because I think that since Falco, I mean, I guess this goes for most other matchups, but like once you like end up stationary lasering, it's a pretty long commitment to laser. And so once they're like, okay, I'm ready to jump to the side platform, or I'm gonna take this as a good opportunity to power shield, or I'm gonna like, you know, read that. Maybe you're gonna reposition and then laser and then hit you for it. You end up losing a lot of like situations that probably didn't need to go poorly since you had advantage prior from hitting the laser. And so I think like kind of changing the way you view the matchup from being like I just get to laser Falco forever now because he's kind of like he's stuck. Is like once you get the laser, then you get to like move closer to them so they're scared of getting hit rather than like worried about getting lasered. Because at the end of the day, we're doing it to get the hit, not to
Yeah.
get another laser.
So could you show me an example of that? Like the example of me doing it the way that you don't agree with, and then the example of like a way or an example of my gameplay that that shows that, so I could like at least visually see.
Yeah, we could do that right now. Let me.
Okay.
Like you said, bro, I can get you the tricks of trade and get you in a company like that if you really wanted.
I think watching KJH play neutral ends up showing like
Mm-hmm.
ends up being a good example of this because I think when you look at his decisions, so like here he comes out with the laser, you trade or whatever. Instead of like being like, okay, we're in neutral, I'm gonna laser. His first thing is like, I'm gonna nair to try and prevent you from lasering because it's like it's about the idea of you potentially lasering being what he's worried about rather than you actually like doing the laser. And so he's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna like try and attack and take the space when I can, you know, because laser itself isn't like the most threatening thing. Or here, I think once you end up in this position, instead of him being like, you end up like relatively far away from each other. Maybe he doesn't have frame advantage, but like instead of being like, I'm gonna try and laser here, his thing is I'm gonna jump over laser and then try and pressure you being in the spot that you're lasering from, right? And so then you roll away, which is fine. But instead of him being like, okay, he rolled, now we get to laser, again, he's like, I'm gonna take my pressure. And so he double jumps again and then goes over laser. And guess what? You went from right here all the way to back here. And there
Mm.
was not a single laser he shot.
Word.
It's like that's kind of the thing where it's like if you can catch someone lasering, that's where the advantage comes from. Right?
Mm.
And so I think like from the Falco that might have laser advantage, maybe you hit him with a laser or two, and then you let it go a bit. You let him think that he can laser. And then you move towards him and then take the space, and then he's scared about something going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the really important part of the Ditto. Because I think when you watch like maybe Ginger and Fiction play the Ditto. They actually don't laser all that much, but it's for that exact reason. They don't want to get caught lasering and end up in a bad position. So they only do it when they really just have a free shot, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the same thing ends up happening right after the double jumps is you're in the corner, he power shields the laser. This isn't not a desirable situation at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not to say that the laser there was inherently bad, because it was just a normal laser, right? He couldn't hit you for lasering or whatever. But it's kind of the fact that like every laser you do, you're weighing the fact that, or you're weighing either, do I want to like potentially get some pressure to like move forward, or do I want to like lock him down? You know.
Mm-hmm.
I had another thought when watching, and I think that Um, when you're like lasering Falco, do you feel like there's ever a range that you want to end up at after you're done lasering him?
Um, I always want to be like just outside of shine at a short range.
Mm, mm,
Like ideally, sometimes it doesn't go that way, but that's what I try to get to. Is like I want to laser them and then shoot a high laser, so if they try to jump at me, I can stop them and then kind of move a little bit closer.
yeah.
But generally, I kind of want to stay like a far enough away that I can react to that because I don't know why, but it just felt right to me at the time.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a good range. I think that is a good range to end up at when you're super advantageous. And then the next range that I'd want to end up at that's like not just a free hit, but still pretty good is like
Mm-hmm.
just far enough away to where you doing a like dash forward short hop aerial will hit. I think that's like
Mm.
once you get to that range, that's when Falco like starts being scared of, oh man, I might get hit here. And I think there's a spot earlier in the match where you ended up at that range and then he like rolled in because I don't know, he thought you were gonna be aggressive or whatever. So he rolled in and then
Oh,
you just got shined, right? But it's like once you get to that range, you don't need to laser anymore. You have them stuck, you know? That's
mm-hmm.
what you're playing for.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like right
Right here. This is it. You
yeah.
see? This is like he's like, "Oh my god, I'm terrified," which is why he rolled, right? He didn't want to get hit. And if you're like down to like either, you know, crouching here I think was good in holding it or like dash dancing here, maybe slightly further back so you could like jump over, you know, roll shine or something, or
Mm-hmm.
being aggressive here, right? All
Yeah.
those things are kind of what give you the give you the win, you know.
Okay. In
Yeah.
roll shot, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think I
then you
tried to
shove another
dash.
laser. Oh.
I tried to dash after that laser into JC shine. I just got blown up though, like right away.
Yeah, you just didn't have enough time because you
Mm-hmm.
one thing that is super important is it's like with melee. I think there's a lot of times where people do laggy things. And it's like, oh, he did a laggy thing, I'm gonna hit him. But it's like you have to take into account what you're doing too,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
Yeah.
so you were, you know, landing from laser as his roll was happening, and he concealed on this frame, you know. And there was just no way you could have gotten there fast enough.
100%.
Dash, you know, you could spend those frames and jump, right? And I think as like a side note, but like still an important thing in melee in general is you know, judging frame advantage will like what your opponent is doing specifically will help a lot. And I think that this isn't something that you know I necessarily have to talk about right now, but a concept that I end up covering with a lot of my students is like the idea of screen looking or whatever. And so it's like you
Mm-hmm.
know you're playing and obviously you're looking at the screen. Everyone looks at the screen when they play, but it's more the sentiment that you are like taking in the specific information happening on the screen and using that to like you know judge. And so here I think if you're like being as accurate as possible, you'd shoot this laser and then you'd see a roll and be like, okay, well I'm falling from laser at this time during the roll. I'm not going to try and punish it directly. And so maybe what you do is you just short hop in place and then space a bear.
Mm.
And so then you have good pressure on shield. You have you hit shine if he tries to do it and he can't dash back. And that's something that you could have done completely on reaction. You know, that wasn't like a read. It was just like you
Right.
saw information and you got to make a decision that, you know, felt good, right?
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah. And I think it's super hard, really hard, and it takes a lot of training, but like I think approaching the game more broadly through the spectrum of or the idea of like I want to use you know this relevant information to make my decisions will make you know watching vods be so much more useful where it's like oh what do I do in this situation and then if you're thinking of it through the lens of like you know what can I react to you'd be like oh I just learned that I could you know react to them doing this thing and then it lets me know that I can play the situation out X way right.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, it's a bit of a tangent, but I always like introducing the idea because it's a super duper massive concept, and so just having a tiny bit of an idea, maybe thinking about it every now and then, will like lend towards you know, something useful,
No,
hopefully.
that's super useful because usually at that spacing when people roll, they're like on top of me and their automatic thing is to shine,
Yeah,
right? And like I just eat that or I have to like think about reading it and then shining before them. But like what you told me is I could just like short hop and just especially if they're on top of me, like I just short hop away in
Yeah,
the back air where I came from and
you,
kind of like protect myself.
I agree. You definitely should not be getting roll shine very often. I think it's
Yeah.
that it's like a from the other Falco. It's like fuck. I guess I have to roll. Oh, I guess I'm gonna shine because I'm kind of close to him. But I think roll shine ends up being pretty newbie.
Okay.
I think the other thoughts I have from watching are I do want to say, obviously I've been sitting here critiquing you for like however many minutes, but I do think that you did play relatively smart and neutral. You're paying attention and you tried to like do things that made sense. So I think that's good. I don't want to just have it be like, let me shit on you for an hour a week and have it be fun. It's
Yeah.
I think you were trying to do good things. I just think there's some spots where obviously maybe you misunderstood, maybe he understood better, or maybe you messed up tech skill and they went wrong or whatever.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now let's start back from the beginning and get deep into the to the analysis.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I do actually. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. But I think that as Falco, your immediate instinct when you see like someone double jump is to just like laser them out of the air and get pressure. But I think in the Ditto, what ends up being better a lot of the time is instead of like thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna laser his landing," you should like just run towards him and either try and shine him, potentially lasering, or hit him out of the air with nair, or like wait in front of him if you think he's gonna land with an aerial. Because when Falco like double jumps, he could just land with an aerial, and there's nothing you could do about it, right? And by the time it takes you to like react and then jump and then laser, he could also just have a laser out because he has to spend less time because he's just falling, right? And so it's like what ends up happening a lot of the time is if he were down to laser, maybe he'd get caught lasering, maybe his laser would come out and you'd get hit by a laser, or maybe his laser or your laser misses and his just comes out and hits you. And it's like I feel like playing that situation out in that way ends up being kind of random to where how much advantage you have, right? And I think that just changing your instinct to get against Falco specifically to just like running towards him whenever he's like double jumping will make it so much easier to actually get a hit. Because what if all the things I said earlier about like maybe running shining his falling laser, maybe nairing his laser out of the air, maybe wave dashing down right in front of him, and maybe he does laser, but you're still at a decent spacing, it's fine. Or like maybe you wave dash down in front of him and he lands with a dare, and you just get to like wave dash down F smash or wave dash down dare or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I do one of those shines on the FE game later on this set because that's how I got the like my initial opening later on. Like, but I think that's game 4 or something. But I do see what you're saying is like if I just do that more often, I don't have to like pull it out of my pocket or something like that. Like that's just my default of like, okay, I'm just gonna like address the situation instead of like defaulting to lasering and just kind of like praying that he doesn't drift forward with his dare or I'm spaced properly enough to where I just don't get hit by anything where I can kind of like take control of the situation. I think that's like a big thing I'm seeing from hearing you like talk about it and like watching is like there's such times where I'm not effectively taking control of the situation that I've like created for myself.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think with Falco, it's really easy to be like, oh yeah, he did something not that great. Time to laser to set up pressure. But like, I think sometimes laser's the best thing to do, and sometimes something else is the best thing to do. And it's easy to like, generalize, but our goal is to be as specific as possible so you could do as much well.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely with double jump, I think lasering ends up being not that great. And I think doing the running shine on like when he's not double jumping, it's like one of the big things with how it works is like maybe he's like short hop lasering or something, and you think he's gonna like approaching laser. If you like dash forward running shine, your shine comes out first, and you kind of it's like a got him, And I think that's also a big. That's like why that spacing, the like he could roll in here and be close to you spacing is good because if he tries to do something aggressive and maybe it's a laser, you running shot forward, you just catch him out of the air and then you hit him with your best combo starter, right? Or like maybe he shoots a high laser because he thinks he might jump or something, and then you run under it and shine him. Both those things happen a lot. Yeah. Um, I think this ended up going well for you because you got laser grab, but whenever you're like under a platform and getting lasered, just kind of know that you do have the option to just go to side platform, and Falco can't really like hit you for doing that. It's like a get out of jail free card from laser.
Okay.
And so here I think if like maybe where was it? Maybe after shielding, once you got hit by the first laser, instead of trying to laser again, maybe you just jumped up the side platform. And then he's like shooting a laser while you're going up. And then maybe you get to like jump off and pressure him because he's in lag from the laser, right? And that's like something that, could have happened. Or maybe you jump up and he's dash dancing there and it just doesn't matter, Because he's not going to hit you when he's dash dancing in the center of the stage, Yeah. I'm sure with this dash attack you messed up.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if you meant to dash attack a Falco at, 12%.
I want it like Nair.
Yeah, I think Dare would have been good there. Just because this is a screen looking thing where it's like the only way that he'd end up on the ground in front of you there would be by like shield dropping. And so he'd probably be on the ground. And if he's on the ground, I'd probably rather dare him than nair him, At least before knockdown percent.
Word.
Right, yeah. But that's where screen looking, comes in handy where it gives you context and lets you be like, oh, I could do that thing, but it probably wouldn't make sense compared to that thing, just given context,
Yeah, that was the thing we talked about.
Yeah. You avoided laser, and then you ended up getting pressured just because you pressed the B button. But I think, what if, like, after doing the spare, instead of lasering, you're like, I'm just going to dash dance right here, And then he's like, oh my god, Falco's close to me. I'm at frame disadvantage because I just got bared, right? I'm in lag. He's out and free. I have to defend myself now. And that's where your advantage comes from. But now you laser, and because you're trying to set up advantage, but, it just doesn't really work that way. And then now you're the one, like, I got to roll back,
Yeah.
It's like,
I see what you're saying. Because, like, there's no reason to try to set up advantage if you already have advantage.
yeah, right? And laser takes so long. Laser's like a 20-something frame option,
Yeah.
Oh, you had him. You had him at the perfect spacing. You caught him at the air. You caught him right here, and I think you saw that he was like moving towards you. And so you're like, oh, I gotta dash away, but it's like your laser's coming out, right? So now instead of like if you were down to like dash dance here and maybe do like laser in place, one dash dance nair, or like maybe like I don't know, turn around up tilt or something. You could have just totally gone them, but then you move away with the laser and he gets out for free.
He was probably expecting Nair because that's why he shined, right?
Yeah, probably. Oh no. Nice. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like you messed up. I do feel like, something about this situation kind of confuses me, but I'm not sure what. I'm kind of okay. I think I got it. Okay, so this is another position where it feels like you kind of like defaulted to like, oh, you saw him in the air, or like I'm just gonna laser. But I feel like my natural instinct to seeing this situation where I like am lasering right here and I see that he double jumps, in front of me, instead of being like I'm gonna go all the way back, I'm gonna like maybe dash back to right here and then do like a late bear just somewhere around here to hit him just falling, because since he's double jumping out of I think it was a shine or something, or maybe it was out of shield. Point being, he wasn't dashing, so he doesn't have dash momentum, and so it's like the range that he could go with his double jump is so limited. It's like he could go like right here or somewhere in between, and it's like you bearing this spot you could do that for free. Because if you bear here and he goes here, nothing bad is going to happen, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's just far away. And I think a big happening, I guess, is that when you're close range with Falco double jump, it's not a spot that you have to be scared of. You just get to cover like the most convenient range for you, and then you're safe against everything else, right? So does it make sense that like after seeing that he double jumped when you're dashing back, you could be like, oh, I'll just do a short hop backflip and then like space a light bear somewhere around here.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then even if I whiff, I'm still okay.
Yeah, it's like he's so far away, you know?
Hmm.
Just because the only way you would whiff is by him drifting back. And it's like, if he's drifting away on the dare, so be it. It's like the weight of the situation is you either hit him or nothing bad happens. And it's like, if that's the situation, I'll play that situation out 100 times in a row, you know? If the alternative is nothing happens or I hit him, that's great, you know?
That's in your favor, really.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Nothing could go wrong for you if it is either you hit him or nothing happens, you know? Oh. Definitely messed up with the full hop there, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but... Nice. I like that you held center. Had good positioning. Oh. Yeah, you just have to double jump bear later. You also have to do your bear earlier. Your bear was a few frames late.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see how you double jump then, and then your bear doesn't start until you're already past them.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to do it rising, yeah. You have to do it super early to hit that. Nice. Look at that. Just look at once you get him to this spacing, he's just like fumbling. He's like spot dodge, shield, miss my wave dash, oh my god, I'm getting pressured. You know, it's like that's the golden spacing. And you don't have to laser for it to be good for you, you know? You already got there.
Yeah.
Nice. Good read. Oh. Okay, I guess you oh no.
I like fuck it up again. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. This one's just you do a short hop rising bear.
Yeah.
And you'll hit him right here.
You know, reverse it.
Yeah. Nice. Could be dead. I hate that this is not instant death. Oh yeah, and then you miss your wave dash. Yeah.
And I'm so sad. He started styling on me.
Nice. I think something you could do here that's really good is that once you get to this point, instead of like dashing or anything, you could just turn around. And so what turning around does is it leaves you actionable enough to like shine if he rolls in. And then if you think he won't roll in or anything, you could just turn your back and then realize that, oh, maybe he's shielding. And then just do a short hop, late bear, drifting towards him. And it's just like spaced, it's late, it's juicy. But like, this is like such a good position, you know? It's like the thing that we were talking about before. It's like, you have everything you want and you don't really have to worry about getting hit. And so you can just turn your back here and you don't need to move, you know? But I think once you like, a big part, I guess, of the situation is that time is of the essence. And so what turning around does compared to like maybe dashing back and short hopping or like maybe jumping to the side platform is that you have, since you're not like spending time doing anything, you have the time to like be safe, you know?
Yeah.
Or you have time to be aggressive if you need to or whatever, right?
Word. Yeah. I was about to say, like, I think the whole thing that I'm starting to realize slowly is like time, even though it's not like as like frame sensitive as like Street Fighter 6, it is though, like it's like time is of the essence where like Street Fighter 6 gives me like, oh, here's how long your dash takes, and like incorporate that into your like knockdown situation. And I'm realizing that I didn't really pay attention to that when I was learning this game, or like I didn't really think about those situations. And so I'm starting like just listening, hearing you talk is like, yeah, no, that all that shit matters, dog. Like
Melee also has that exact thing, you know. Time is of the essence. You have to hit the dude somehow. And if you don't have time to do it, you're not going to hit him, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how did you? I guess my question for you is like, how did you come to learn all of this information, or figure out a way to like practice and kind of like instill that in yourself? Or
I think obviously I've been playing for like 9 years, so it's been a long time. But I think that my natural process has always been like, okay, you know, I'm watching the game. I watched the game a ton too, by the way, so that might be a big part of it. But I watched the game and then I'm like, okay, you know, this situation happened, and then I try and understand why specifically that thing happened. And so then maybe, you know, I gather like 1% of like some information about timing. And so I have like some idea of, you know, what frame advantage is or whatever the timings are. And then I think as I build up, you know, my repertoire for learning more and more situations and understanding like what makes them work the way they do, whether it be like the different times that things interact or the different hitboxes associated with options or the you know, the reactions that would be associated with it, whatever. I think that just by learning a super broad variety of situations and then being, you know, inquisitive when like thinking about their like base functionality, at some point had enough, you know, knowledge, broad knowledge, to like start being able to understand things on like a more specific level. And so it's like, I think maybe an example of this would be I, you know, I knew that if Fox like is close enough, he can get lasered by Falco, and then before Falco could do a second laser, he could nair him out or whatever, right? It's like, okay, sure, that totally works. But then I learned somewhere down the line that like that is true, but only in like a very small, you know, amount of spacings, and then like that spacing being a thing is something that Falco could also see. And so then I learned like, oh, it's like, you know, it's like a broader mix-up that Falco and Fox both have control over, like manipulating or whatever. And at some point, once I like, after I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, Fox, you know, nair beats laser sometimes. It makes me realize that like, oh, there's like amount of times that are associated with spacing, because the closer you are, the less time you have to spend to get next to someone to hit them, right? Or the further away you are, the more time you have to do that. And then all these random little pieces, you know, end up getting put together, and then I have an idea, like a fundamental idea of how laser works. And it's kind of why I've mentioned how mentioned often a few times how, you know, Falco laser is a pretty slow option, and so it's like, if you have the opportunity, you might want to do something else, blah blah blah. It's like, just from the fact that I like built up from, you know, the one random take laser nair position, it like, you know, it kind of guides you towards other solutions, right?
Okay.
And I think that as like a concept is very overwhelming, but at the end of the day, baseline, you just kind of have to learn a bunch of situations, and then at some point you'll be like, oh yeah, it kind of makes sense that there's this other like nuance to it that is applicable to other parts of the game.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm excited to move forward with that mentality. Then.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I think something that happens a lot that I think feels really good is once you like learn more and more, you get to the point where like you'll just be sitting there, maybe talk or thinking about melee, maybe not, and then you have like a, oh, it clicked moment, and then you just have like some realization about something in melee, and you're like, wait, it actually clicked. Like I solved the game. It's too free, you know. I got it, and then you just like keep doing like that. It's just like how melee ends up being, and I think that like, oh, it clicked is very satisfying. It makes me feel like a genius. I'm like, dude, I got it. What the hell?
Eureka.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's another like drop, you know, extension thing. And so it's like you get this shine. I think it's good that you wave landed forward, but then when you see that DI, you have to like jump dash as fast as possible, and then hold back after jumping off, and then do like a dare, right? And so then you can get like dare shine. That makes sense?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you get to do the dare, and you end up actually getting a combo. Uh-huh. And AC Bear,
I
it's
pyramid
so
scheme
good.
me.
It's so good, but it also is just like it goes wrong so quickly.
Yes.
I think your idea to do AC Bear here was good because you can use AC Bear to true whiff punish aerials because Falco stands up after, right? And so your AC Bear just goes straight into his head. But you were a bit late on this one, so you ended up going into his crouch. I think you have to be a bit more preemptive than you thought.
Yeah.
Like once you see the double jump, you have to already be like, "Oh, I'm going to AC Bear now." You can't be like, "Is he going to land or not?" I'm not really sure. And then AC Bear, you have to do it from the moment you see him double jump. You know?
I see.
Yeah.
Like to intercept his fall. Like time it to like you're gonna intercept his fall, but it's gonna end up being like you're gonna hit him in the head.
Yeah. Oh yeah. One thing I will say about Falco shield pressure is, I think trying to shield pressure Falco if you're not spaced is probably a waste of time. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just so easy to get shined to the shield.
Absolutely.
So here it's like you got close and you got shined immediately. And a lot of the good Falcos will be good at that too. Nice, good full hop. I like that full hop. Hmm. Here's another spot where I think you kind of had a free dash back short hop bear. So it's like you dash back to obviously avoid the dare, and then you just get to like do like a short hop backflip late bear to either like whiff punish the dare or maybe get shield pressure. Who knows? But it ends up being pretty safe, you know.
Okay.
And I think you obviously realized that he was double jumping on top of you, which is why you like did the dash back laser. But I think you could be a bit more specific with your answer with the short hop bear. Nice, got the pressure. Yeah, I feel like that laser probably wasn't that great.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I don't know. If he's on the side platform, there's probably not much like value you get from like lasering him when he's on it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna like stay on the side platform anyways, and you're gonna end up on the ground anyways. You know, I think if I'm falling down, I'm more worried about like protecting myself when he's that close, and so I'd be down to like fall with like a bear, and then play the situation that falls after. Yeah, nice. Oh, you could have shot him on the shield. That might be something to practice.
Yeah. And that was not supposed to be raw dash attack on shield.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, kind of lasering a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get to the good range, you don't need the laser. You're free. Nice.
Jump. I don't know what to do in that spot when he hits me with dare and it doesn't hit. I don't know what my immediate like next what my next option is after that because I know I can hit him, but I don't know what time I have enough to hit him with.
Yeah, I think if you're at like super duper low percents, like I'm talking like 0 to 10, then you could probably try and shine, maybe roll the dice if you're like close enough or not.
Mm-hmm.
But like most of the time, I'm just gonna shield. I'm just gonna hold shield, and then I think rolling is good, but I think you should probably only roll once like something actually happens, so you don't get your roll red.
Yeah.
Because like what happened here is you did the roll after the dare hits her shield, or I think you wave dashed, yeah, but then you rolled thinking that like maybe he might be pressuring you or whatever, but it's like a lot of the time in melee you don't have to roll preemptively. You can always at least see something happen
Mm-hmm.
that would like entice you to roll, so you don't like end up getting red like this when you don't need to.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's get hit.
oh, and you red side B. Wow. Tragedy. Oh. Okay, yeah, no, I understand. Wow. Nice down there. Oh, you had a back air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you even did like the good walk away, but you just have to like full hop bear him. Up
Down
till.
here. Ooh. Skadoosh.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did a FGC head nod.
Yeah, really. Okay. Well, I guess. Do you have any thoughts before we go on to the next game?
Um, I'm just trying to like this is like my first like lesson that I've ever like had.
Mm.
So it's like a lot to take in, but it's all good stuff. Like I'm really excited to just kind of like go ahead and practice, you know.
Mm.
But this next game I get fleeced on Battlefield, I believe. So that's tough. But I just want to know what went wrong and like how I can stop the bleeding in situations when I'm getting like cooked.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's good.
I just get like
Oh, here's another spot where I think jumping a side platform could be good. Because, like, you just don't, once you're in the corner like this, you really don't have that many places you could go, you know?
mm-hmm.
It's like you could move back a little bit, but obviously the end of the stage comes. You could move forward, but obviously you probably don't want to move into the guy. And so then, like, involving, like, vertical gameplay into that means that, oh, you have this space too, and then you also have all of this space. And then maybe you have this space if you want to get there, right? It's like,
Yeah.
you have so much more open to you if you are down to, like, full hop defensively. Oh my, what is he doing? Mm, um, do you know how to beat double up tilt? When one of them hits your shield.
No, I don't. I would love to know that.
Okay, so what you can do is you could either jump forward and then do a late dare. Because what happens when you dare is like, you know how obviously dare is pointed down, and so like it moves. Your like hurt box gets bigger downward, and so up till actually hits. But if you do short hop late dare, Falco like kind of pulls his legs up or whatever, and then you get to fall. You get to like avoid the dare and then or up tilt and then fall on top of it with a dare.
Okay.
So you could do that. You could also do when the first up tilt hits your shield, you wave dash back forward smash. Just like you could do that, and that's really good. I think that's also great. And then there's also like you could do a similar thing you did with the late dare, but with laser. And so you jump forward, and then you do a super delayed laser, and then maybe you get like late laser down tilt. Um, and then and that's like a true combo, and then you get good something good off of that.
Okay.
But you are like hard reading the second up tilt. There's
Okay.
like no reaction involved most of the time.
I just die.
Yeah.
Bye.
Oh, that happens a lot if you're too close. I hate that that happens.
Like that is crazy. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like mid-game.
That if you're too close, Falco Shaman comes out before your move does, which is why I think a good thing to do is once you like laser them and you're at this range, you're anywhere from like here to like back here. You really can just do laser turnaround and then like pressure from there. Maybe you do laser turnaround up tilt. Maybe you do laser turnaround and then like short hop late bear. Maybe you do laser turnaround and then decide I actually want to attack and then just down air through them. It's like it gives you so much freedom and avoids like so many of like the kind of basic traps that you might fall into.
He just has like a crazy flow on the stage.
Yeah.
It's kind of like was like definitely like felt like how I felt the rest of the set was supposed to go. kind of deal where like I'm just getting gapped on like his just movement and his decision making sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I just don't play the vertical game. I get hit for nothing.
Yeah, I feel like here the problem is that when you like approaching laser when they're on platform, all you're really doing is just putting yourself into their threat range
Mm-hmm.
without any like real hitbox, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like you just lasered forward and you're like, damn, I'm close to him. I have to defend myself now. And it's like this shouldn't even like you didn't even have to do that, you know?
Yeah.
You don't really gain anything from doing it either. I think, a good alternative is just like you laser, you do that laser, and instead of like approaching lasering, what if you just like run forward and then like dash dance right here? Or maybe you like you run forward and crouch right here. So maybe he, jumps off and lasers on top of you and you get to shine him. Or maybe like, maybe you run forward and keep running forward and then just do like a full hop bear through the platform, you know?
Mm.
But like I think laser almost never ends up being in that like dichotomy unless you're like standing far back and lasering right here, you know?
Yeah.
Jake,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one is like the one that hurts to watch.
Oh.
But not anymore. I'm chilling now, but
Still sucks. Still sucks.
yeah,
to
it
lose.
still sucks.
Yeah, I feel like you got caught by Falco shield pressure. It's like what you can do is either if you want to read him double shining, you could shield and then hold towards him,
Mm-hmm.
and then shine on his shield after the double shine. You're gonna be reading the double shine once you see one shine, which is fine. But once you see one shine, you time for shining a shield on double shine. That's something you could practice.
Okay.
And then as long as you're shield angling forward, it'll work. You'll hit him.
Yeah.
If he wavelands down or whatever, or tries to like do an aerial. If he does a third shine, you'll get hit. But that's part of the mix up. And if you want to like do something else, you you would shield DI away. 1 second. Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Okay. And then you would shield DI away, and then after the double shine, if you're gonna read it, you do like a downer on a shield.
Oh.
And so shield DI actually ends up being pretty important against Falco the Ditto because like it's a matter of like whether his shine hits or not. If his shine's missing and he's shining, it's bad, right? And so you could like kind of manipulate that with like shield DI away and stuff and all the silliness. But if you want to read double shine and shine it on the shield, then you have to get it close enough for your shine to hit. So shield DI in is the important part,
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great information. 'Cause
Yeah.
now that explains a lot from my end too.
Yeah.
Certain things happen the way they do.
Oh no, double dare F smash is so evil.
Yeah. Like I said, diabolical gameplay.
Yeah. I really just hate to see it.
Yeah. Please.
Cool. Cool.
No Quattro. I'm chilling.
Man, you're having a lot of trouble getting to the ground.
Yeah, he's like, I'm like, oh shit, he's on my ass.
Yeah, I think when you're on top platform and you really want to get down, you probably gotta like move a bit less, Because I think when you're like dashing and stuff, you don't have like control. You can't be like, ooh, I actually want to go to the right side because you're dashing to the left already. It's like, but when you're like standing still or maybe like wave dashing or something, you have a lot more like control over that, and so you get to actually pick which side you want to go to. Because I think he gave you opportunities to go to a side or another. Like it happens right away. It's like once he sees you go to once you see him go to the right, you could have gone to the left and landed on the side platform, right?
Yeah.
Or it's like you go back up and you see him running to the left, just run to the right, You get to go to the ground for free. That's kind of like what you need to like be doing, but you have to like have the frames to be able to do it. Yeah. But you made it down nonetheless. Works out, cool. Um, Still, just as another idea, but you always do have the option to go to the top or the side platform when the weird like laser war stuff like this happens. There is actually something else you could do. I
Okay.
tested this the other day, but if you get hit by a laser, and you read that they're gonna do a second laser in place, you could just approaching laser,
Hmm.
and you'll jump over their laser.
Yeah.
Because I think Magi made a tweet about it or something, but there's like a weird Z-axis thing going on.
Yeah.
Um,
Falco's feet.
yeah, his feet pull up, and so it's like if you do like a short hop delay, like no fast fall laser, you'll just jump over this laser, and guess what? You're right here lasering him. You get a free shine, right?
In the golden area almost.
Yeah, and I think that's like I did not mean to close it, but that's like a big thing to do is if you end up in this weird trade where you both laser each other and you really think he's gonna go for a second one in place, just approaching laser forward. You'll body him.
Hmm.
Obviously, you could get hit because what if he's running shines or what if he does an aerial into the middle? But like right?
It's
Mix
like,
ups
what
are
if-
mix ups, and I think it's good to play them holistically for this. Oh, cool.
Didn't shield that down. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That's the thing.
oh, that laser is so greedy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
this
soon as he
laser.
saw him, like, yeah.
Yeah, you definitely realize it too because you're like, fuck, I can't fast fall. I have to defend myself, But yeah, no, that laser is super duper greedy. Oh, I'm also surprised you shielded after this roll. I feel like if you look at what's happening during the roll, you probably weren't like at risk of getting hit. He was like on the side platform where you were rolling, and you were rolling like way past him when he was right here. You could have probably dashed and been safe.
Mm. Might have been conditioning type shit where, like, I got red last game
Mm-hmm.
by doing that same roll. But
Yeah.
that's like the looking at the screen thing you're talking about where, like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's like the situations are probably different. I think there's sometimes where you do get red doing that roll, and you can get hit, but it's like, he's on side platform. How is he going to get to you in time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how he went to platform so he didn't have to play the laser war,
Yeah.
and he ended up getting a hit from it. Yeah.
And skadoosh, yeah.
Okay. Um. Well, do you have any extra thoughts before we start wrapping up?
Um, no, not really. Like, all the stuff that you've told me is very, like, it's interesting. I'm definitely gonna spend some time to kind of like think about it. I like to write about this game a lot
Mm-hmm.
and like jot down my notes. So probably when I watch this back again, I'll probably take down some like notes and things like that. I do ask if in your free time, if you like watch the rest of the set and if you have any more thoughts after watching the rest of it, definitely just shoot a message to me.
Mm-hmm.
Something that you do. I don't know if that is something you do.
I don't generally do it, but
Okay.
I think if you have like, if you are watching the set and you see something, you could always clip it and send me the clip and ask a question, or I mean, at any point ever, if you have questions, you could just ask.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, no, I'll definitely have some questions. I'll watch it back myself then.
Nice.
And then other than that, do you have any like homework for me that I can work on when I practice?
I think most of the stuff we talked about ended up being pretty situational, but I think the things you can practice are changing your instinct when Falco double jumps to from lasering him out of the air to like pressuring him when running towards him. I think there was jumping the side platform when you're getting lasered. I think there was recognizing once you get to the good range against Falco, and changing your doing a wider variety of options. So maybe it's like you try and narrow through him to read him jumping, or maybe you do up tilt, or maybe you do downer in place, or maybe you turn your back and do a late bear. Like experimenting with those options at that range instead of doing another laser.
Mhm.
There was the shield pressure stuff. So shield DIing in and shining at a shield after double shine. Something to practice. Again, you're only reacting to the first shine and you're reading the second shine. Or shield DIing away and doing an aerial out of shield on double shine. Those are both things to practice. And I think the last thing, talked about it kind of briefly, but when you get hit by a laser and you think they're going to do a second laser in place, you could do approaching laser over it. That's something you could set up in Knuckle. These are all things that you could set up in Knuckle Punch. If you know how to do that. If you don't, we could talk about it at some point. But
yeah, I do. I'm in the house. I'm the safe state guy.
nice. But yeah, so that all this stuff is things you could put in Knuckle Punch and will be useful. That's okay. I think all the homework I have for you.
Thank you. I'll definitely get to it then.
Okay, cool. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
Later.
Peace.